All right, this is the Granery Burying Ground in Boston, one of the older cemeteries. It's been here for a long, long time. Many famous Bostonians and people from Massachusetts buried here. I'm gonna kind of tour you around a little bit and try to give you a little bit of the background and history of some of these places. Hold on. On March 5th of 1770, the Boston Massacre took place, obviously here in Boston, and 5 men were killed. The first African American killed in this fight for liberty before it was officially begun is Crispus Attucks. He's buried here. The men who were killed in Boston that night were ship workers and dock workers and stuff like that, and they didn't have enough money to be buried anywhere else, so the city gave them a common burial ground right here in the Granery Burying Ground. Not too far away here, about 5 or 6 feet away, is Sam Adams. Sam Adams, one of our founding fathers and founders of the Sons of Liberty. Sam Adams lived until I think 1803 or something like that. And before he had died, he said he wanted to be buried very close to the men who were killed in the Boston Massacre, and his wish was granted. Sam Adams was the son of a very wealthy family. The father was a maltster, meaning they made malt to be able to sell to people who made beer. And Sam, when he was 14, entered Harvard University, got an undergraduate degree. He also then got a master's degree after that, and yet he still worked the family business, the malt, being a maltster, and hung out with a lot of people in the taverns in town, and did a lot to incite the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You can see on top of his grave are different rocks and coins, generally placed upon there to honor and remember famous people and to share respects in a very special way. We're going to keep moving. This is an interesting grave marker here. Apparently the person who died isn't half the man he used to be. Sorry, cheap, silly graveyard humor. And this marker is Robert Treat Paine, one of the founders and signers of the Declaration of Independence from Massachusetts. Thank you, Robert Treat Paine, for having the courage to move forward with the call for independence and freedom.
Hello.
And here's another grave marker, not sure who it belongs to, but you can just see on top all of the stones and things like that, again put there just as a sign of recognition and remembrance for the person who is buried there. This location here in the Granery Burying Ground is Paul Revere's tomb. It's even got a marker that says he's a Boston Tea Party participant. There's a giant memorial marker here. Paul Revere, born in Boston January 1734, died May 1818. And again, you can see a lot of pennies, coins, and rocks. I'm putting a rock up here myself to honor his memory and for all that he did for the American Revolution and to help us have the freedoms and liberties that we have today. Looking back the other direction from Paul Revere's tomb towards the street where we came in, you can just see oodles and oodles of grave markers. I'll zoom in on a couple of them in just a minute here. You can see how the styles they use for marking. But in the very center of the graveyard, you see this obelisk that is a memorial to the parents of Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin's parents are buried in that location right there. So the writing on this one is upside down. I can't read it. We try to respect by staying on the sidewalks here, but this was just kind of an interesting little crypt they put this person in because somebody left a glove with some peanuts or nuts in it. I don't know if the person inside is cold and needs to get warm, but oftentimes these nuts and stuff are to feed the squirrels. We'll keep moving on, see what other kind of interesting things we can find here. This is the tomb of Peter Fennell, and Peter Fennell is I believe the builder of Fennell Hall that we'll be visiting in a day or two here. Look at how ornate the tomb is. All the incredible inscription for something in the 1700s. So just very amazing. Looking down at a couple of these gravestones, you can see just interesting the shapes of them, as well as the thicknesses, the signs of age over. Keep in mind a lot of these were from the 1700s. And now this is obviously the back side of these. This one's a little bit thinner, but then in the front you can see a lot of the writing and the artwork. Some of the artwork on the on the tombstones is very cherubic, as if it's a child or a baby. This is more of an adult, but more angelic. There are others that actually look like demons, and that's kind of spooky. I would maybe not like to be out here in the middle of the night. Here's one of the kind of spooky ones right there. No thank you, not for me. Here's another somewhat interesting gravestone. You can see how thick it is. It's got to be, well, almost the width of a hand thick. And on it says, "Here lies," spelled L-Y-E-S, the body of Mrs. Watstill Trott, the wife of Mr. Thomas Trott. She died June 8th, 1744, in the 39th year of her age. Some people say that the thicker the gravestone they put on top of it, they're trying to make sure that if the person is still alive or has a ghost, that they can't come out and haunt anyone. So she must have been a beast in real life if they've got a 5-inch wide tombstone for her. Rest in peace, Mrs. Trott. Leave us alone. And this giant obelisk-shaped sort of thing is the memorial marker for where John Hancock is buried. Of course, John Hancock, probably the wealthiest man in the colonies at the time of the Revolution. Both a businessman and a smuggler, but very well respected in the colonies. And also, he's the one, when the Declaration of Independence was signed his name so big that the king would not need his glasses to be able to see it. So John Hancock rests right here. All right, I was just pointing out some of the interesting artwork on the tombstones. Check out this one. This is actually somebody designed like a skeleton right there. Kind of freaky. That's something to be, well, maybe I really wouldn't want it on my grave, but it's kind of cool anyway.